don't think that this podcast is going to be very deep. That's actually super interesting because that's not what your wife said. OMG.
Welcome to That's
Not
What
Your
Wife
Said. She said welcome.
to my legs.
She said, I have a third for you.
I have a third. The mystic, the musical, the simple woman. A simple, simplicity, felicity. But her name is Monica. Monica, welcome.
Oh, thank you. So happy to be here.
Oh, no.
So happy.
I'm
so happy to
excited.
have you.
Wow. I'm so simple. I love this simple life. Yeah, we're here. We're all here. We got the gang at the crib, in the Jacksonville crib.
In the crib.
In the crib. It's probably been seen on the Instagram and on our personal pages, but the girls are here.
We have also been video cording.
Because we're 70 years old.
And you could be expecting a video at some point.
Yes, we've been documenting our adventures, which
Which
have just been really including lots of arm workouts. Not the kind that you think, but lots of arm workouts. And
I thought my right hand was pretty strong, but
yeah, think again. I thought my upper back muscles were strong. Think again. No, it's been fun. And now we're chilling in the living room. It's last day here for the ladies. I don't know what I'm going to do. Go back to what I was doing before, just being unemployed. Literally doing nothing. But yeah, no, it's been fun. Do we want to do quick
that's what I was thinking.
highlights and lows?
Lows.
Highest points and lowest points for the trip?
Yes, I think highest point. There's so
I
many.
just drooled
There's
on
so
myself. Did you see that happen? Oh my god, no.
I think highest point was actually
I'm just like really horny for highs and lows right now.
just dripping.
I literally just dripped coffee and Monica saw everything. It didn't get on my white pants. It did not get.
I think highest point for me was the museum. I had a lot of fun at the museum. We snuck in shooters and little wine bottles and chugged them in the bathroom like classy women that we are.
It was classy.
It felt a little classy.
It was very fun. We all got dressed up and went to this like Italian garden thing. Let me throw this. Oh,
we got the good pics. That's where that Instagram picture is from. Is that museum?
Yeah. Oh God.
Low is also a high for me as well. But if we're on the speaking of lows,
you gotta say it. Be honest with me.
This kind of ties back into our introduction of Monica. But we had a guy.
I was the low.
This was the low. No.
You're
Monica
a simple
was here.
bitch.
Monica was here, and that just kind of sucked.
No. We had a man approach us in a bar.
I figured that would be the
low.
low.
I mean, it wasn't quite a low because it was very entertaining, but it just had, if I'm going to bring up a low, that would probably be it. But he was just very insertive of himself into our conversation.
This man came up to us and went up to Rachel. If anybody is listening that's ever seen Rachel in person, Rachel's ass has its physical own zip code. And if you want to know what it is, it's 91377.
Oh,
just kidding.
91377.
That's my hometown.
Wait, I'm making a note of that.
91377.
91377.
No, that's Oak Park, California. But Rachel's ass has its own, solar gravity. Sure. Like, it just attracts thing. It just it's a magnet. So, this man, we're sitting at this beautiful rooftop bar. We're having, a little bit of champagne situation. We got some snacks. We're chilling, rooftop, Florida. Here we are. This man comes up and he's like, do I know you from somewhere? And all of us, physically, I think we all rolled our eyes.
Yeah.
Because we were just like, no. But we entertained it for a little bit. Because he also entertained himself for a little bit. But then he started, touching Rachel's leg. And talk about unsolicited behavior.
Oh,
but, he was, touching Rachel's leg and, pinched Monica. And I was like, yeah, okay. I got up and I was like, I'm going to go take care of the check.
Point. He went, I'm still kidding. I don't even know how that came up, but I just remember it happening.
Well, then he asked you to get up.
Yeah. He said, This is right before we left, actually. But he was like, all right, get up. And I just gave him the blankest stare of all time. And he's like, oh, you don't take requests. And I said, no, I ain't no DJ. And then he was like, okay, well, I gotta go.
Yeah, right? Go take care of your son, John Smith, whatever your name was. We can bleep it out. Beep it up, a pop. So,
Yeah.
okay. Monica, highs and lows.
I really did enjoy paddleboarding.
Yes!
I did too.
It was really tranquil
Mm-hmm.
and
Nature
relaxing.
connection.
But I'd say that was also the low because
That's good on
it was so grueling physically.
Blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah.
I thought you said butt, sweat, and tears. I was like, hell yeah.
There was butt
Sand
sweat.
everywhere, if you know what I mean. Okay, yeah. I think I'm going to start out with my low.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And I'm high.
I think my low was, I loved paddleboarding, and obviously I like water aquatics sports, but there was a woman on our way back, and I was like, I felt like I was full of, what is it, spit and vinegar. Like I was like spick and span, like I felt like an energetic bunny.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we met that lady, and she was like, we were like, oh, how long until we get back to the thing? She's like, probably about a mile. I lost it.
Is that when you lost it? Okay.
I was like,
I could
this
see
is-
us all physically just kind of go, good to know.
my soul was a little crushed because I was tired. I felt like I was like going, like I felt like I was like building muscle and I was like hyped. But then when she said that, I was like, I'm so fucking tired and my blood sugar is low. And I got to make sure we're all good here. So yeah, that was my low. And then high, God, there were so many. It's like certain moments of time that were my highs. Like singing Dreams with Monica at karaoke.
I was going to say, yeah.
I was just like dancing, singing Shallow, paddleboarding.
This
when it
girl
was nice.
literally just sang Dreams, and then I was like, okay, I'll sing one with you. She's like, okay, we'll do Shallow. Cool. Goes up to the I don't know what you call him, DJ karaoke lady, and is like, all right, me, Rachel, Shallow. And she's like, can you sing Shallow? And the look that went on Kyler's face at that point in time, I'd never seen such determination.
I was like, bitch,
She's
I used
like,
to do this every Monday night.
Play.
Just put it on. Cue it now. Yeah. What else was there? I feel like it's been like a week, but it's also been like 37 minutes. Going out to this place called 5 Points was really fun. Seeing the look on Rachel's face when the tattoo artist said that her tattoo was going to be $150, that really got me going too.
Oh God, what did it look like?
You were just like, oh, okay. Okay,
I was
sure.
like, well, think on it. Might be back. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
love. We'll
later.
think about it. You looker.
I was quick about it, at least.
What else was there? Oh my God, the fucking food at that place last night was fire. That was good.
Sushi actually
Sushi
was
was
a
good.
high. Sushi was a high. I
For
wouldn't be
sip
mad
of
if we
that
got sushi before we
Sapporo.
left, actually.
Was it lunch?
I'm down for that for lunch
Done.
again.
Done. What else? Looking at dogs.
She literally is just listing off everything we did. Highs and lows. Oh, what else did we do? We slept a little.
What did we do the first day you guys were here?
We went to the bar.
That was... Yeah,
the tiki
wait.
bar.
Oh my God, that was so
That was
fun.
Oh,
There
yeah.
was a man at the bar trying to guess where we were all from.
Okay, so Monica was in Ohio, if I
Why do
remember
people
right.
keep thinking I'm so boring? Like,
You're,
Yeah,
you're
Ohio,
so,
you're simple.
Actually, all the most interesting people, except for this one chick I hate, all come from Ohio.
Except for this one chick I fucking
I
hate.
fucking hate that bitch. She's the one I told you at like 2 a.m. liked a picture of mine. And I
no
went to see if
way.
she followed me, and she doesn't. And I was like, why are you looking at my stuff? I'm doing good.
Fucking
I eating good. What you want?
people from Ohio, swear to God.
I swear to God, yeah, fucking bitches. Am I right? So Ohio is where
I can't
No.
remember. He thought I was from Seattle. That's right.
Apparently I'm from North Carolina, because that's where all the pretty blondes are made.
Yeah, he literally is like that. They make the best blondes.
Well,
I was like, yeah,
I'm from California, where
You're not
they
wrong.
actually make the best blondes.
I was
So.
gonna say, I think California breeds the best. The best
Well,
breeds.
breeds the
Breeds the
best.
best. blondes. I said Tom's best.
Bleed the best.
Breeds the best blondes.
Bleeds the breast. You heard it here first, folks. I can't talk. Oh my God. Breeds.
But yeah, I want to talk about Monica a little bit because this is the first time we've had her on the podcast.
Monica!
Monica, what do? What's your story?
is this where I plug myself?
Yes,
You can
you
totally
plug
plug yourself
everything.
here.
dropping my single in April.
Yes.
What's the single called?
It's called Cheap Motel.
Cheap
Ooh.
Motel?
Mm.
I'm already turned on.
Yeah, it's a metaphor.
Ooh.
I'm excited.
For
Yeah.
a person?
It's all about kind of that point after a breakup where you realize you have to get over that person, and it's kind of that getting over stage where you're still really tied to them and you're tied to the memories, but to me, that's the lowest point in a breakup, and that's when you're at like your most fragile. And so I compare it to like being in a cheap motel. We've all been in a cheap motel where you're like, I don't know what this brown stain on the wall is, like the toilet like runs all night, the water smells weird and like is yellow.
So like you just got to get through your stay.
And yeah, and you just
Damn.
gotta get through it. You just gotta buckle down. Like, sucks, but you gotta get through it. So
That's so deep.
I like
I
that a
love
lot.
that. It's
I
like,
like that a lot.
it's so unfamiliar, and you don't know like where. It's like staying somewhere.
Well, it's also
it's like a
like-
cheap motel.
yeah,
It's
crazy.
yeah, what about?
It's like you don't know where things are, and it's like you don't know if this is clean. It's not necessarily like unsafe territory, but it's like very uncomfortable
Yeah.
territory.
Right,
Yeah.
but you're also traveling, which is because it's not your end point either.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to note.
Monica, that's so deep.
That's
Thank
really
you.
good.
It's what my 4 years of an English degree got me.
Well, we love it.
Um,
We love a good degree.
I would
We
agree.
love a smart one.
I love those metaphors, man.
So speaking of breakups, want to talk about
Speaking
that?
Oh,
Speaking of
You don't have to
breakups,
talk. You don't have to talk about a breakup.
Of breakups, what is wrong with you? No, I mean that's what inspired this song is because I just got through a bad breakup, and that's so I just got through that point of like having to accept like, oh, I got to get over this person. The like chorus is, what if I told you I tried saving myself from falling in love with someone else? And that's kind of been like the state that I'm in of like where you don't want to fall in love with someone because you don't want to go through it again.
100%.
But you just like, you can't help it. You can't help falling in love.
You
Just like
Yeah.
Fergie said, the love bug crawls right back up
Oh,
and bites
Fergie!
you. And I'm back.
Oh, baby.
And I'm back. No, that's so true.
That's why they call it falling in love. They don't say preparing to be in love.
That's
you
you
fall.
falling.
It's
you
an accident
fell.
most times.
Yeah.
No, that's
So I
That's
think what
super
she's saying
deep.
is she's single.
Hello.
I think that like the most creative and determined, or like some of the most creative and determined, like hell bent moments are like after getting over like a breakup or like getting over a love. Because I know
Yes.
like for me, if like after a breakup, I've been like, cool, I'm running 4 miles every single goddamn day. I'm just determined as fuck to do, because I feel like more, like in the past relationships that I've had that I've broken up from, like I just felt free afterwards. So I was like, oh my God, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
It is
And
a
then
weird
it's like,
feeling.
you get a different type of control. And I feel like the best relationship is when you feel that way, like with that person, and you feel
Yeah.
determined to do that.
That's
but
very
like
true.
when that person is holding you back, it kind of is like a bittersweet moment after a breakup like that, where you're like, damn, like I miss that person, but at the same time, like that wasn't good for me, you know?
Yeah, and this has been, like, I've had the biggest glow up from this breakup because I was mentally and physically in a bad place with that breakup. So,
I'm so happy for you. I think you're rocking it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
me
got
too.
a bunch of tattoos, got my septum pierced.
That
Dude,
happened
really
post breakup. I thought you'd always had that for some reason.
No, I got my septum
guess I wouldn't
pierced,
have known, yeah.
tattoos, lost 35 pounds.
holy shit. And that diet plan will be on our Patreon page.
We'll be dropping that on Patreon. Patreon.com/yourwife. Thank you. Patreon.com/yourwife. Back to the pre-recorded episode.
After you record an episode. Shameless plug. Damn. That is true that, I mean, you can,
I feel
most
like
people were, like I saw this meme the other day and it was like, the best diet plan, seriously, if you want to lose like 20 to 40 pounds, is a breakup.
Emotional trauma.
Definitely.
it's true. It's true. I definitely think like when you lose somebody like that too, like you definitely feel like you lose a part of yourself. So like that stage where you, like you said, you're like running 4 miles, you're just so determined. It's like to literally rebuild yourself, but you can rebuild yourself into whatever you want
Mhm.
because you don't have that person influencing it anymore.
Yeah, because we had been together for 2 years, so I very much only knew myself, like, with him.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so kind of that, like, self-rediscovery.
So was that like post-college relationship or?
We started dating my senior year of college.
Okay.
And then my first year out in the real world.
Which is kind of, I mean, that's kind of a transitional stage too, which I
Yeah.
think affects it.
Yeah. So it was really tough. But it's been like, I mean, shoot. It's been like
Oh, shoot.
7 months now. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, if you guys were together for 2 years, like, well, I just said this the other day jokingly. I was like, it usually takes like half the amount of time you were together. How long were you together? I was like, it's not going to take a year.
A year.
It's not.
No way.
That's not true.
Is that true? It takes half the time to get over somebody?
They say that.
That seems like a lot.
Well, you know, with my first breakup, it took me about half the time that we were together to get over him. But, you know, it's your first breakup. You don't know the territory.
That's true,
You don't know
too.
what you're doing.
It's like a cheap motel, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good. I might do that.
No idea what you're going to get.
You never know. What's that brown stain? I don't know. Damn. Well, I guess on the topic of, like, breakups and stuff, like, I know for me, like, it's always been, like, a self-reflection, and, like, I'll call, like, my aunt, and she'll, like, be like, well, I'm sure there were a ton of red flags that you just didn't see because you were blinded.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of thought it would be fun to talk about, like, different, like, if you guys have ever had, like, yellow or, like, red flags in a relationship that you, like, totally didn't even notice until the end, and then you were
Yeah.
like, oh, shit, I should have done something.
I think it's interesting to note, like, what a yellow flag is versus a red flag, because we all have heard the term red flag before, right? And it's like, okay, we probably shouldn't ignore that. But, like, yellow flags are one of those things that can be overlooked in certain instances. So I think it'll be interesting to kind of talk about the difference between those two as well. But red flags, fuck me up with some red flags. I definitely had a lot in my first relationship.
Well, I think that, like, a yellow flag, because you said you want to talk about the definition of both.
Yeah.
I think a yellow flag is like, I should be wary, but a red flag is like, I should get up and leave the table.
Right.
Or, like,
Yes.
I should, we're always eating dinner. I should get up and leave the table. Or, like, I should just end this now.
With that being said, too, a culmination of yellow flags could equate to a red flag.
I think 3 yellow flags is a red flag.
Yeah, especially if it's
That's the
same
formula.
thing. Yeah.
Ladies, take notes.
A
I'm in.
squared equals B squared, okay?
Equals see you later.
See you later. So what do you think, and this is a group conversation, what are some, like, red flags in past relationships that you've seen that ended up being, like, what it turned into?
So
like the question I just asked.
No, I was like, I'm just thinking of stories.
I could ask,
I'm
like,
rolling my
a
eyes.
3-minute long question.
Do you want to lead this one, Monica?
Why? Because I have such a shady dating
No, I
history.
just I have an idea, but I didn't know if you wanted to go first.
We're doing red flags or yellow flags?
I think both.
Yeah, whatever.
Both?
Whatever strikes your fancy.
Both.
Both?
We should play a game. We should. I'm sorry. We should. I'm so sorry. You say whatever it is, and then the other
Guess.
people have to guess if it's a yellow or a
Okay,
red.
yeah, I like that. Let's do it.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm so
Okay.
excited. Everything's
But
a game.
it could be subjective, but that's okay.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Gets defensive quickly.
That's a red flag to me.
What about? I have more questions. Defensive about what?
Anything. Oh, just like if you're ever, hey, babe, why didn't you wash the dishes?
Oh, okay.
Well, I was doing this. Why didn't you wash the dishes?
Oh, wow.
Stuff like that.
Well-
I'd say it's a yellow flag, but again, if it happens consistently, there needs to be a conversation. If there's no change, red flag.
I take back my answer. I thought you meant defensive in the sense of like when it like, oh, like
Where have you
are
been?
you texting that girl or like where have you been? Like, well, and then they turn it on you because like
That is a red.
from
sure.
things that I've read online and in textbooks.
Red.
I read them. Usually it's like the more narcissistic personality type of person, like, if they're guilty of something,
Right.
like, defensiveness is a confession,
It's
kind
guilt.
of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, where were you earlier? Well, like, I was busy. Like, where were you? Like, fucking someone? And it's like, oh, shit. Like,
Or
that's
some-
a confession.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Or if they like are like really on your case, it's usually because they're acting.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I got it wrong, and then I got it right.
So what would
Right?
you say?
Is that a
it
red
then?
flag?
I would say it's a yellow flag. I'd
Okay,
say
agreed.
it's one of those ones that it can start out just as a yellow flag, but very quickly can turn into gaslighting. Which
Totally.
I believe gaslighting is a red flag.
Oh,
Gaslighting is a
1000%.
red flag.
um,
We're all in agreement here. Also, our book will be coming
Say
out.
Nicki Minaj.
Okay, I have one.
Okay.
We've kind of talked about this on the podcast before, and I also have a story to follow it up, but phone checking.
that was on my list.
Phone checking, like you checking their phone and they're checking your phone?
I'm going to give you a scenario.
Okay.
You're going to be like, red flag. And I
Okay.
can't believe, like, that today's Rachel would have never went through it. I would have laughed my ass off and be like, I'm never talking to you again. But this was my first relationship, and I didn't really know how relationships worked. I was 18 years old, and I was like, maybe this is normal. Literally, it was like our second or third date. Now, preface that
Whoa.
with, I knew him from high school.
Okay.
I knew him from high school,
Well-
but we had hung out again, and then we decided to just start dating, which was also red flag. I shouldn't have done that. But the like third date, right? He's like, yeah, so with me, phones are open. Like, I know your code. Like, that's how it should be in a relationship. And I was just like, okay. Like, I didn't have anything to hide. And he literally had me give him my passcode and looked through my phone. This man, I hadn't cleaned my phone out. We had just started dating. So I still had text messages from a guy that I had been talking to previously. And he went through and he read those text messages. And, like, I had told this guy I liked his eyes and that brown eyes were my favorite. And my boyfriend had green eyes. And he threw a fit for the rest of the day because he saw that I said that. Isn't that ridiculous?
That's a little much.
I literally look back at that memory and I can't believe it even happened. It was so early, too.
I think that, like, I've said this before. Like, if it ever gets to a point where my significant other has to, like, check my phone, like, I consider myself, like, an extremely loyal person. Like, if we're out at the bar or something and somebody tries to hit on me, I will literally tell them to, like, fuck off and, like, go away. I'm like, my boyfriend's
That's like my favorite thing to do is to tell guys to fuck off.
Oh, yeah. But, like, I've told myself before, like, if that person has to check, like, a phone, like, the relationship is over. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because then it's just like, well, clearly all trust is lost. And, like, you know, if you guys don't trust each other, then what's the point?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've never had somebody check my phone. But, I mean, it's at the same time, it's like, I wouldn't even have anything to hide. Just the principle of it, I'd be like, okay, like, that just shows me that you do not trust me at all. You know?
It just sounds very exhausting on both parties.
It's just like, I feel like in our culture, like, it's so normalized, you
It
know?
is.
To
Well,
just,
there's-
like,
Social media plays such a new important role. Like, it's the third person in your relationship in this day and age.
So
you
true.
know? Because in the past, you didn't have to worry about how to react to your boyfriend liking some girl's selfie where, like, her cleavage is showing and wondering, how do I deal with that? Because let's talk about that. Liking other girls' photos. What kind of flag is that?
I don't really
And how
care.
do we feel about it?
I honestly don't care. Like, I like girls' photos where their boobs are hanging out. Like, it's hot. Like, whatever. Like, I for me, social media is such a joke that, like, it doesn't matter to me. It's like, are you gonna go fuck that girl? No, didn't think so.
Well,
Get your ass back here.
I think there's get where you belong. On your knees.
It'd be easier.
I think it depends on who it is. I would have a problem if I knew that, like, they had a history with ech other and they were still liking photos of them.
Okay,
that would definitely
makes
bother me.
sense. I thought we were just talking about, like, Instagram models.
No.
I'm like away.
No, I mean, like, on their Facebook accounts. Like, that
I
sounds
see
so
that.
antiquated at this
Like,
point.
if you're in a relationship and then he was liking his, like, ex-girlfriend's photos of her, like, at the lake in a bikini or something. was very specific.
Like, oh no, I'm supposed to party with this girl. And it also depends on the selfie. Like, and the photo. I don't care if they're just liking photos, whatever, if it's like a regular selfie, but if it's like, you know what I mean. Yeah, like
thirst trap.
It's a thirst trap. Yeah, it's like you should if you like scrolled back and like looked at it for a few seconds, that's fine. But like for you to physically put a little like on it, like why?
Because it does send a message, like literally.
It does.
Sends a message to that person. Like, I enjoy looking at this.
I enjoyed looking at this.
You know? But at the same time, I feel like I'm such an old lady with social media. I just throw likes around. I'm like, oh, that's great. It's fucking awesome. Da-da-da. Like, I just, I'm like, whoa, like, oh.
Yeah,
like, for me, it's not a big deal. So, in my eyes, I don't see it for other people as a big deal. Like, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you're just being courteous, you know?
Okay.
You're just letting them know that you're, like, supportive.
I'm out here. I support what you're doing, what you're throwing.
I don't know. For me, I guess it depends on context. I guess it would be a yellow
it's very
flag.
much context.
But
I agree.
don't know. What do you think? Oh God. Opening up a can of worms.
Like for me, based on like my past relationship, like where you were saying like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna fuck her? Yeah, my ex did. He liked her photo and then fucked her, and so that So
was that somebody he had history with, or was it like a random Instagram?
Dude, he slept with anything that had open legs. Anything.
Oof.
Anything and anyone. Anytime that I saw that he liked someone's photo, a thirst trap photo, I'd call him out. I'd be like, why did you like this? And he'd always be like, oh, like it just should, I was just scrolling through and I was just liking. And I was like, that's not true.
So then he would like slide in their DMs.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah, we don't gotta get into it. But
literally, like how and why?
This is also the same man that Monica told us didn't shower, like would have
oh my God,
be reminded
this is an exposure podcast, by the way. So
yeah, sorry. I just
wouldn't shower for what, 2 weeks was it? Did he brush his teeth?
They lived in Nevada.
Listen, I had to beg him. So when we first started dating, okay, this shows the type of person I am. I'm really, really sensitive to smell. Like, I have like a pregnant woman's nose. So
I'm so sorry you're staying with me. I'm so sorry you're here because I have 2 cats and there's a litter box right there and I stink constantly.
If something smells, like I'm very sensitive to it, and this is totally going to give away who he is. He's a skateboarder, and he would smell really bad because he'd be skateboarding all day, like outside, so he'd smell like outside, and he'd smell like BO, and his feet would stink really bad. And so I would tell him all the time, I'd be like, you smell so bad right now. Like, can you please go shower? You literally stink. And he would get so butthurt because I tell him that he smelled bad. And I was like, well, if you just literally showered like a regular person, this wouldn't be an issue.
Dude, every other day. Like, God,
at least every other day.
Because you're living in Nevada. And you're skateboarding. Like,
no, like,
you would think, like, when you got home from a long day of shredding the gnar, you'd be like, I gotta go take a shower.
You should have just started stinking and be like, you like this shit, huh?
He didn't care. He did not care. And see, okay, so he has dreadlocks, and I'm white. I'm not going to act like I know anything about dreadlocks, but I do know that you do have to clean them. I know you don't have to wash them every day, but I do know you have to, like, detox them and, like, clean them out because it's hair. He never, ever, ever, ever would wash his hair. Ever. It stinks so bad.
It's so nasty.
Terrible. I
imagine waking up and your face is just,
oh my God.
In the...
And the weirdest part is his skin was beautiful. He had the most beautiful skin. And he didn't take care of himself. It made no sense to me. Because his skin was so nice.
That's so frustrating.
Maybe it's just like, I'm just thinking about like people of the desert. People like people that
desert people.
Like people like 300 years ago or something. That like I just spit on myself.
So intrigued to see where this is going.
That like didn't have showers and they were just like out there with the dust and the sun and the spirit guides and the coyotes and they're just like grit and like they probably had gorgeous skin. So maybe that's the secret. Maybe that skincare routine will also be on the Patreon, which is just not showering.
I think it was like pre a lot of makeup too.
Well, and I think our diets are so terrible
very
now, and that contributes so much to your skin.
True.
That was the other thing, is he would eat like fast food all the time. That's why I gained 40 pounds when we were together.
I love that this is just turning into us trashing him.
I
Yes,
could trash him
yes,
for hours.
yes, yes,
Oh
yes.
my
No, that's
God.
okay. That's, yeah.
But that just goes to show that, like, when you are it's so easy to ignore all the red flags.
Yes.
When you become so almost like infatuated with someone, because he
So
had
true.
such a charm about him. He was such a just charming person, and he just sucked you in, because he was the type of person where when he talked to you, it made you feel like you were being heard and like validated. And he was very good at like just making you feel like you were important. And he was, he had a lot of friends. He was very outgoing, and so yeah, he had a charisma.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Was there any point where you kind of felt like, you know what, I think I do want to leave him, but then you were in a different city with him and he was kind of like your person out there because, you moved away,
Literally, that's
where
what
you
happened.
kind of felt like, I don't have an option?
Yeah, because when we first moved out to Las Vegas, I found out that he had cheated on me again. And we had just moved out there. So I was like, I can't break up with you because you are the only person I know out here.
And I know, like, things that, like, leases and, like, we live together, like, those play such a big role, and it sucks because that shouldn't be something that keeps you with somebody is a 12-month lease, but it's just realistically, it's hard.
Yeah. And that's why, like, I just, at this point, like, I don't know if I'll date. I mean, I'm sure I'll date again someday, but just because a lot of the things that he had were yellow flags that spiraled into red flags. And so it really makes it hard.
1, 2,
How many
3,
were we
1.
on?
It makes it really hard when you start seeing those yellow flags in other guys, because no one's perfect. We all have yellow flags. We all have red flags, probably, to some extent.
I'm perfect.
Besides Kylie, she's perfect.
Yeah.
But you start seeing like those traits in other guys, and you're like, oh, I've seen this before, so goodbye.
Goodbye.
I'm not doing that again. Even though it might not be the same thing whatsoever.
And that's like
That's a
the
good point.
vulnerability of like getting back out there, is because you're like, oh my God, like I don't want to do this all again.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to go on a first date because I just like, they're so painful and annoying. And and then it's like, oh, if you notice one thing that reminds you of something that he did or she did, then you're like, oh my God, like I gotta throw the whole person away. Like it's like job hunting, actually. It's discouraging because you're like, trial run, do the interview, and then it's like either you don't get the job, but you're kind of happy you did it anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, sometimes I'll do that if I think I've had a bad interview, I'll start to kind of like, to make myself feel better about it, I'll be like, I'll start really looking into something that happened in the interview or like something about the job, and I'll be like, I didn't really like that anyway. You know what I mean?
I will say, having met him like once or twice, he did have a certain charisma about him, and I could like, he was very good at eye contact, so I can see how that was like, it's just like, for me, like being in sales for so long, I feel like it's like a manipulative tactic sometimes.
It is.
You
Which
know?
Kylie has great eye contact. So that coming from you, he must have
Do you
had
wanna buy some
fire eye contact.
He really did. Like, I noticed the amount of eye contact that people give, and I was just like, I remember it was like at the skate park when I met you there, and I had like flip-flops on. I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, I truthfully don't know. And I was like, he gets a lot of eye contact. I don't know why. Just had to bring that up.
Interesting.
But
I kind of want to see a picture of him. While you pull up a picture of him, do you mind? I
Let me see your ex.
want
Let
you
me
to
see
give us
that.
a flag, and then I want to guess what it would be. Red or
okay,
red or
I have
yellow.
to think. Oh, I have a good one. Being friends with their ex.
Oh, okay. This is personal, again, subjective, but for me, that is a no-go. That is a no-go.
Really, just like hard no.
Hard no. And that's also because, like, personally, I know that I can't be friends with an ex, or, like, in my history, I haven't been able to be friends with an ex. So, I don't understand, like, how they are making that work without there still being some kind of feeling there. Like, but I'm also a very jealous person, so that's why I would not like it. That's just something I know about myself.
So would you say it's a red or yellow?
For me, okay. Again, I'm always like, give me more details. I think I would have to see the level of friendship. Because there's a difference between being a friend that occasionally responds to a Snapchat story or says happy birthday and still being friends with them and hanging out one-on-one. That is a red flag to me.
Yeah.
A girl and a guy do not hang out one-on-one like that.
No, I agree.
Like,
absolutely not.
If they're exes.
That level is, yeah. And sometimes I feel like I have such like a male, like a dude energy about things. Because I'm not friends with any of my exes. Like, they will respond to like a Snapchat story or like an Instagram thing, but like by no means do I like call them and talk to them or like, hey, we should hang out when I come into town or like happy birthday, like none of that. But I'm not like, usually I end things like on a good note. I'm like, all right, shake hands, have a great day, like see you in another life or something. Like, yeah, thanks for the memories.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just kind of like laissez-faire with it. Like, I know that I have no emotional attachment, so I'm like, okay, like whatever. Like, they're just kind of like a person that exists that I don't hate, but I don't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that I'm like friends, but I would say like being like
if you ran
civil,
into them,
like,
would you say hi?
Yeah. I'd be like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, I wouldn't be like, well, certain people,
right?
You know? But, like, if you're, like, texting them constantly or, like, hanging out with them or, like, going to their, like, house, you know, whatever, like, that is, like, it, you know, I think that's a lot. Especially when you're in a new relationship, that's such a red flag to me.
I have a fun one. This was a big thing with my ex. His family was great. But I noticed that they were still in contact with a lot of his exes. Like, they would talk on Facebook. They were going to invite his exes to, like, his sister's quinceañera. And I was like, I'm a little uncomfortable with that. Like, I didn't love it. What do you guys think?
That's a tricky one because I had a boyfriend when I was, like, a teenager. And my family were all great friends. Like, I don't talk to him ever. But, like, my dad and his stepmom talk all the time. Like,
was it
they're
before
good friends.
You were dating that they were friends, though?
No, it was after.
Oh, okay.
But, like, I haven't talked to, like, he's engaged, and, like, I have literally not talked to him for, like, probably upwards of 2 years. But, like, our families are great friends. And, like, my high school boyfriend, his mom is constantly responding on my Facebook posts, like, what are you doing in Florida? What's going on with you? And I'm like, Heidi, I love you. But
you go. I know it was hard.
You know? But like, I think it depends. Like, if one of the, like, let's say Heidi, like my high school boyfriend, she really liked me, but like, if she were to invite me to like her, you know, fucking baby shower,
I wouldn't.
I probably would not go because I'd be like,
it's like I don't want to make people
uncomfortable.
For your son, like, I'm not going to show up.
Yeah.
That's just my personal thing. So I guess it's not really necessarily a flag. I was just kind of curious what you guys thought about it.
And I've turned down before, like, invitations from, like, that family friend to come to, like, a family, like, you know, Thanksgiving or a family Christmas because I know that, like, him and his new, I'm like, I'm not going to do that. That's so weird. Like, I love you guys and I would love to come and see you, but I'm not going to be that person. Like, that's so strange. And, like, I appreciate the invitation, but at the same time, it's like, it is highly inappropriate. Yes, you know what I mean? So
exactly.
I think it totally depends. And also, you don't know what they're thinking either. Because they might be like, oh, I really did like or I got along with his mom, like, really great. Yeah. And eventually that'd probably fizzle out. Or maybe they, you know, think of them as, like, a mentor or something. But I think it super depends. Like, if it was, like, less than 3 months ago and they're like, oh, invite her, then it's like, are they still talking? Like, what's the what's the issue? You know? Like, how are they still in the mix?
Especially once they've moved on to somebody else, though. I think out of respect for that new person and that new relationship, like, I'm not gonna show up and have her throw daggers at me across the Thanksgiving table.
Yeah, that's a little much. So,
yeah.
What do you think? Any thoughts? You don't think anything, actually. You're so simple.
Just simple. No, I mean, I am not really friends with any of my exes' families. Like, my first boyfriend, like, I'm still friends with his parents on Facebook. They still like and comment on my statuses.
Yeah, that's how it is, like, for my first boyfriend. Yeah. Like, it's just, like, you know.
And I still like follow his sister on Instagram. I follow him on Instagram. We've been broken up for 4 years now. And how we were talking about, like, if you're friends with your exes, I'm not friends with him, but, like, I could text him right now and just have a casual conversation and then end it. And,
Yeah.
You know?
Peacefully without, I agree.
Yeah, because I literally just hit him up the other day because a memory popped up on my Snapchat story of him. And I was like, oh, look, it's you. And he was like, oh, when was that? And, we just had, like, a little interaction, and then that was it. He has a girlfriend. They're very happy. I wish them the best.
Yeah.
I have no feelings for him.
Totally.
That ship has so sailed.
Exactly.
But we are amicable.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And I think that is a good thing to look for in a significant other. I think if they're amicable with their exes, I think that's a good sign, because it means that you are mature enough to handle a breakup,
Mm-hmm.
and you're mature enough to get over,
That's a
bad
good
water with
point.
someone.
I agree, because, like, in my past, like, if somebody's like, I have such fucking bad blood with that person, it's like, well, shit, like,
Yeah.
wow, like, it's kind of
Yeah.
like it's, like, scary, like, I mean, obviously, like, people get cheated on, and it makes them, like, angry, and, like, they're, you don't need to be amicable with that if you don't want to, like, everything is your choice, and you're validated with that, but I think I think it is, like, attractive when somebody's mature enough to be able to end it peacefully. And I think that's something that I've always tried to do, like, is just make sure that, everything's, clean and good, and there's no, like, harsh feelings. Because when you're angry and you hate someone, like, that is an energy that you're putting
That's
out
what I was
there.
just gonna say.
Like,
I
you
was
still have an attachment to that person, whether it's in a loving way or a hateful way. So it's just, like, if you can show that you're, like, a peaceful person about it, then for me, that truthfully means that you are
over
moved
it.
on from that
Yeah.
person.
I
and
think
over
you're
it.
completely right. I was just going to bring that up because I know, like, with my ex, like, we had to block each other. And now, personally, like, I actually asked him to block me because I didn't want to continue talking. Like, for me to get over him, I needed him to be cut off completely.
Mhm.
And now that emotion's not there, but at the time, of course it was. Like, that's why I had him do it. So I definitely think that them not having them blocked still and, like, them being able to be amicable does show that they are truly over it. So that is true.
Yeah, because, like, my first ex, we had each other blocked for a very long time, and things were incredibly rocky between us for, like, a solid year after we broke up. And so it is really, I don't know, like, good to see that you can get to that point,
Yeah.
It's just like my song, Cheap Motel, where it's all
Shameless
about...
plug. Check it
Yeah,
out,
that's
iTunes,
dropping-
Spotify,
that's dropping in
SoundCloud.
How when you're in just that point of desolation and desperation, and where everything just feels terrible, and you feel like you're never going to get over this person, you feel like your life is just always going to suck and be terrible, and you're just going to be sad and empty. But to know...
You're making me sad.
She's like, don't worry, it's
Whoa.
coming. See?
Like, all these sad words are weighing on me.
Desolation did it for me.
But
That was the
to
first
know-
one.
to know that you can be in that state and come out of it on the other side and, have a smile and be happy.
Smile. Go for a walk.
And,
Oh, yeah.
Drink a cup of coffee.
Once you get through it, you get so thankful for that stage.
Yeah.
100%.
God, it's like my favorite point in life was that turning point
Yeah.
of that breakup, literally.
Yeah, because that's where I am now with my ex, of, like, I'm past that point. Like, I don't want him back. I don't talk to him. I don't even feel the need to talk to him. Like, I still feel angry sometimes thinking
Right.
about how much he screwed me over.
I'm sure memories.
But I don't have, like, that just emptiness that I had before.
Yeah.
It
I
is,
yeah.
like, the most, like, it's, like you said it, it's, like, the best feeling when, like, if you go through a harsh breakup and then a few, weeks or months, however long it takes, everybody's totally different. But that day that you're like, oh my God, I haven't even thought about them until just now. Like, it's, like, so freeing. You're like, shit, okay, like, especially when somebody comes into your life and is really traumatizing and robs you of your trust and your emotions. It's just, like, so freeing when you finally get to that point where you're like, fuck, like, I feel like I can breathe and there's not, like, a rock on my chest anymore.
Literally. I feel like I can be myself and not feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Green flag. Just kidding.
It's a green flag. It's a
That's
green
a
light.
green, you know what? That's a green ass flag. Does anybody else have another one?
I do,
Oh, I
actually.
love this game.
I love this game.
them wanting to know a lot of details about your romantic history?
I don't love that just because I don't need to know about my, significant other's details. Like, I don't really, the thing is I don't care. It's like, that was all before me, so it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care. Like, as long as you're not doing it now, but, like, if it was before me, like, it has nothing to do with me, so why do I even care?
Yeah.
So if somebody were to ask me, like, what's your history, I'd be like, why do you care? Like, it was before you. Unless
I have
it's,
a really
like,
funny story to go
something
with
insane, but, like, I was just like, we're here together now, and, like, I want to be with you.
Yeah.
So, I would say it's a yellow flag.
Okay. What about you, Monica?
I actually don't mind it. And again, that's just because of my dating history of where I was with guys who, if I had known what their dating history was, I wouldn't have dated them.
Oh,
you
wow.
know?
Yeah.
And so now something
That's
that I
true.
do kind of pay that, I don't care how many girls you've dated. I don't care about your body count. I don't care about that type of stuff. What I care about mostly is how did it end?
Okay.
That's
I
what
have
care
to
about.
agree with you on that. I agree with you 100% on that because it's like, it doesn't matter, but like, how did it end? And
It's a
like,
good
are you
point.
guys amicable? And like, did you
Yeah.
cheat on, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just like
because-
simple. Those are like interview questions to me. Like
Yeah.
if you're dating is like, that's like a 5th to 6th date question. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like my ex, he cheated on every single one of his girlfriends, and I
Yikes.
didn't know that until literally
I
like
was gonna
a
say,
few
I
months
could see
ago.
that becoming bad though, because like, if it did happen, like there was a bad situation with an ex, and then them being judged for every future relationship because of that. But if it was literally every single girlfriend,
Yeah.
then that's a different story.
Yeah, so I think
Or it's the same story multiple times, you might say.
I think you handle it the same way you handle them telling you stories about them as a child. It's things
yes, I
that
agree.
built them as a person.
Yeah.
It contributes to who they are now, their personality, how they treat you.
It's their character.
It's all, it becomes a part of them. And so I think it doesn't need, intensive detail, but I think it's something that I personally do like to address at some point in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So I do have a funny story with that one that just came to mind. That's why, like, what made me ask the question. But I remember my ex at one point, and again, I was very young, and so was he, but we were going over, like, our history and stuff, and I remember him asking me, like, how many, like, guys I'd kissed or something silly like that. And then I remember I had forgotten somebody. Like, I remember waking up the next day and being like, oh, I didn't tell him about this person. And I, like, told him, and he made the absolute biggest deal out of it. Like, if I could show you a video of what happened, you would literally be like, what the fuck? Like, I remember him freaking out. I went over to his house. He, like, got out of the car. He, like, walked around the block. He literally was so heated about this. If the fact that I stayed in this relationship with this guy, knowing how he handled, like, when he got upset was stupid. But I just remember that and thinking that was, like, normal and that I'm the one that fucked up.
Well, I feel like in our society, just kidding, not really, but like when we're younger and we watch like, rom-coms and movies, like romance can be portrayed as something that is so like aggressive and like dramatic, and there has to be these super, super highs and these super, super lows. Like you're either dancing and kissing in the rain or like you got your neighbor pregnant. Like there's it's like a soap opera.
Yeah,
like
that's
it's
true.
just incredible highs and incredible lows. And it's like, it's not something that I've learned is just like, you can have a loving, peaceful relationship. And like, of course there's going to be disagreements, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be screaming in your face disagreements. You know what I mean? Like in the movies or, I know like growing up, I didn't have like the best role models for relationships, and you grow up thinking like, oh, okay, like when somebody gets mad, they should just scream in their face and slap them in the face. Like that just makes sense. But then it's like you grow up and like you go to therapy, hopefully, and you're like, oh, that's actually not true. Like that's actually like not like how I like to handle things. Like I don't like yelling or like a really harsh conflict. If there's an issue, I'd rather just talk about it,
Yes.
right there. And I think
that is such a turn
media
on, by the way.
totally contributes to that.
When a significant other can converse with you and not make it emotional, like with my current boyfriend, I remember being so thrown back. And like, because I almost equated emotional fights to passion. And so I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, it was just very different, but I absolutely, like, appreciate it so much that he can just keep the emotion out of it, and just, it's literally a conversation. Like, we don't have, like, fights.
Mm-hmm. Yellow flag if they ask. It depends on why they're asking, I think.
Red flag on my story.
That is a red flag. In case anybody's listening and they need to know. But, I mean, I don't know. I feel like when you go through a breakup, there's a lot of shame around how long it is, like, it takes you to, like, get over it. Like, for me, like, in past breakups, I always felt like shame. Like, I should stop thinking about this right now. Like, why the fuck am I walking around my apartment thinking about that one stupid fucking thing? You know, and it's just like, you're allowed to feel what you feel for as long as you feel it. And I will say that, like, I think that therapy does get a certain stigma around it, but it definitely, like, in my past and my present, like, it definitely helps. And it's, you know, good to talk.
That stigma is going
openly.
away.
Yeah. To talk openly about things that, like, you know, you can talk to your friends all you want, but sometimes there is just an underlying shame that is about it that you just have to get off your chest, like, to just another person.
I think that's a good point, and I was going to bring that up too, is I don't think you should feel any shame for still having those memories. Like, and nobody knows what you were going through. You were the one with those memories. You're the one walking through your house, seeing him in a certain area, and something comes up in your head. Like, nobody else is going through that but you. But with that being said, you can't bring up every single time that happens with your friends. Like, they don't need to hear all of that. Like, as unfortunate as it sounds, like, that is something that you have to get over. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something that actually one of my friends and I talked about a lot is, would you be this sad over a breakup if you hadn't been told to be sad about it? How we were talking about media representation of relationships. We've been told over and over and over that if you have a breakup, you're supposed to be sad and you're supposed to be depressed and you're supposed to be laying in bed eating ice cream and crying.
You see the montages in movies.
If you had never been
think
told
Legally
that,
Blonde, where she throws a chocolate box at the TV.
Right. If you had never been told that, how would you have actually reacted? You know,
That's
and
true.
I think about that a lot because
It's so true.
I do believe that, you know, your feelings through a breakup, they're all valid. You being hung up on someone for whatever reason, like, that's just, you know, you feel how you feel. But you also have to ask yourself, do you actually feel this way? Or are you making yourself feel it because that's what you think you're supposed to be doing?
Good point.
And that was something that I really struggled with one of my exes. One of my ex-boyfriends, after we broke up, I didn't feel sad. And
I've been there before too.
You know, and it wasn't like, I didn't hate him. I didn't, you know, I didn't feel particularly sad that we broke up. But I felt like I needed to be sad. So I was like forcing myself to be sad. I was like forcing myself to think about these sad memories and,
hate that.
you know, sit and dwell on things to make myself sad because I was like, I should be sad right now.
I should be feeling something more than I am.
Yeah.
Also, don't torture yourself. I remember I have memories of me, like, looking through shit in my closet of, like, items and, like, looking through old photos when
So
we first
dramatic.
broken out. Like,
Yeah.
don't fucking do it. There's no reason. Go throw it away.
It's fun to pretend like your life is a movie, but
It
don't hurt yourself so far to the point where you're that Taylor Swift song where she's sitting on the floor, laying in his clothes, looking at old pictures, because that is fucking depressing. That is very sad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think we get kind of addicted to that sad feeling. And so when a breakup happens, we just want to, like, you get addicted to it. You get addicted to feeling sad. And so, because even after, like, my most recent ex and I broke up, and I wasn't feeling necessarily sad about him anymore, I was still finding myself, like, going through pictures, trying to make myself sad. And I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
Because you felt yourself moving on a little bit. Maybe that scared you.
Yeah, and so I was trying to, like, bring myself back. Like, no, you're supposed to be sad about this.
No, that makes sense.
You need to be sad. You should not be moving on yet, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so that's just, I share that little perspective.
No,
I think
that's
that's-
super interesting. I
that
like
was a
that. I
really
never
good
thought about
point.
that
Yeah.
before. I was just sad or not sad.
We
That's
have
just how it was.
therapist Monica on the show today.
They're Dr. Simple.
Dr. Simple as your
to tell us-
musician name.
Like Dr.
Dude,
Dre.
Dr. Simple? That's
Because
actually...
you give it to people straight, yo.
Yo! I'm copywriting that. You pay me for that.
Again, single, available, Spotify, Apple.
I thought you were talking about
All
Monica.
major platforms.
Single, available. I was
Oh
like,
no,
whoa.
that too.
Single,
And
available on
available.
all platforms, you
My
say.
single is now available. Just like me.
Just like me, available on single platforms.
I do have one other thing that we could just touch on, and that's, I know we've kind of talked about it on the podcast before, but now that we have Monica here who's like going through it, I wanted to talk a little bit about
She's
dating,
oh, Monica.
dating online.
Oh.
Literally, they both just judged me so hard, like, oh my god. She just said she's going through it. I'm like, whoa, let me finish.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I have no, zero
Because I feel like we didn't
experience.
have enough experience to really talk about it, but Monica's like literally doing it right now, and so
Literally
yeah, I have
right
questions.
Mm.
Oh yeah, she just shows her phone. She has plenty of notification.
Monica has
Well,
69 Snapchat notifications.
Well, you guys experienced a little bit of what it's like when I gave him my
Online
phone
dating.
to
Right.
answer
Shifts.
Snapchat.
We were taking shifts.
We took shifts.
And yeah, I forgot how terrible online dating was
Mm-hmm.
because
Totally.
I met my ex on Tinder, so I was pretty familiar with
That's a yellow flag, by the way.
dating.
I agree. I'm sorry.
Nice. Well,
I mean, that's the thing is, like, I couldn't meet somebody on Tinder, but, like, our friends, Kimball and Dallas, like, met on Tinder.
Yeah.
So I
How long
can't...
have they been dating?
Forever.
Okay, cool.
They're
So
our
it
parents.
can work.
They're, like, I feel like out of that whole, like... I almost said triage. Is that 3? Triage?
mhm.
It's a ménage à trois.
Out of that whole, like, Lucky Berry group, like, of people that we knew, I feel like Kimball and Dallas were, like, the parental pillars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they've been together for so long. Like, for as long as I've known Kimball, there's been a Dallas.
Mhm.
You know? I'm just so
Yeah, it's in
passionate about
Texas.
that. I really am. But they met, and then it's like, when I think about it, I'm like, meeting people on Tinder, and I'm like, literally, Kimball and Dallas been on Tinder, and those people are going to get married and have beautiful babies. Beautiful lumberjack bacon babies. So I was just like, okay. But, I mean, I don't know. I personally couldn't do it because I gotta feel the person. You know, I gotta feel the energy and the vibe.
For me, I can't. I get a very good read on people, but I can't do it over texting. I don't get a good read on people over texting. It's got to be in person.
I also get bored texting.
Me
And
too.
So that's the thing is to successfully online date, you cannot have any ounce of social anxiety because you have to be able to meet that person pretty quickly.
Very true.
And so that's kind of where I'm at now is I have all these guys on my line,
Oh my god.
but with,
Magnet.
with pretty much every single one of them, we're at that point where either we need to meet or someone's got to ghost, because we just don't have anything substantial left to talk about where it's like, I'm not going to share like intimate details about myself if we haven't met yet, because I don't want to like create a connection before we've met. And so you kind of have to like find that sweet spot. And so what I've heard, a lot of people have theories on like how many times you should, text someone before you meet them. But really, I say you just, if you match, you talk enough to like establish that you're not a serial killer. And then you have to meet. You have to meet as soon as you can because otherwise it just gets so drawn out. And then
I agree.
There's been a few guys where I talked to them, we established a great connection over texting, and then we met in person and it was just not there.
Yeah.
And so then it's kind of that awkward thing of like, well, we do not get along in person, but you're super fun to text. So what do we do?
So with that being said, do you think it could be a first date kind of nerves? Like, would you give a guy a second chance, like a second date chance, and then call it quits? See if there was anything there? Or would it be that first date and you're kind of like,
It very much depends. I was actually just in this scenario literally like a week and a half ago. I actually got set up with this guy that is a client of my hairdresser. My hairdresser is like friends with my mom. They're really good friends. So my mom was in getting her hair done, and this guy was sitting there, and my mom was like, oh, he's super cute. I'm going to get his number and give it to Monica.
oh my God.
Laura!
that.
And that's what she did.
How have we not talked about this yet?
So
Laura, I swear.
yeah, so I just, I was like, whatever. He wasn't really my type, but I was like, it's okay. I'll reach out to him. And so I texted him. I was like, hey, I'm so-and-so.
You know my mom, so.
You know my mom.
She knows you.
And he was like, cool, let's go get a drink. And I was like, sure. And we set the date, didn't talk. So, we literally just
okay, that's kind of nice.
Had our pleasantries and then set the date. And then we didn't talk until the day of, where I was like, are we still meeting? Because I have not heard from you.
That
He was like, yeah.
so weird.
And I was like, okay. So we met up at this
What is this, an
place.
interview?
I will say it sounds like, was he a little bit older?
No, he's my age.
Oh, I was going to say, I feel like that was like an older
Yeah.
guy person
I
thing
could
to
see
do.
that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we met up, and he was just a nice guy, conventionally attractive, so awkward. Just like so awkward.
He's probably nervous,
Oh my
obviously.
God, so awkward. And so that's where it kind of comes in of like, he asked me out again and I said yes, even though he was incredibly awkward and I didn't feel like we connected. You have to take into account the other person's nervous. I was probably nervous. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know my feelings anymore, but online dating is hard because you really have to give people a lot of room.
There is, like, you have to give a lot of benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I agree. And, I mean, I kind of like that. Like, if I had a friend and they were like, oh, I met someone or whatever, you should go have a drink or have lunch with them. I would kind of like that because it, like, leaves a little mystery to it. Because it's like, okay, we'll meet at, the Pig at 7:00 on Tuesday or whatever. It's like, okay, cool. Like, you're kind of, like, looking forward to it instead of just, like, I get bored texting if I don't know you.
Yeah.
Like, if I know you and you're my
Right.
friend, like, I'll text you fucking all day long. Dumb shit. But, like, if I've never met you, oh my God, my voice cracked. I am growing up. I am a grown boy. But, like, if I haven't met you yet, it's just like, like, how's work? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
I was
just, like,
just
kind of
gonna say,
lame-o.
Also, if he was already nervous about the date, he may not have wanted to, like, pull out all his all his cards with you through texting. Maybe he was like, I don't want to ask her, like, what she does for a living. Like, I literally want to save up for the date, so I have things to go back to.
Totally. It's
You know?
probably just kind of, like, waiting to, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
see
it
that.
makes it, depending on the person, like, when I first met my friend Carrie, I remember we met with, like, a big group of people, and then we were like, we should have coffee sometime. And we didn't talk, like, at all until that day. And, like, we're
This is
really...
with who?
Carrie.
Okay. That
And
makes
we're,
sense.
like, really good friends now, but, like, when we first met for coffee, like, we had so much to talk about. Like, we were just
Yeah.
like, oh my God, da-da-da. And we, like, got along really well, like, right off the bat. But it's different if it's... I feel like there's a lot of pressure on it, too, because that was, like, a date. It wasn't, like... Was it a drink or was it coffee?
Drink.
See, I would think... I think, like, a date of choice for somebody that you meet online, this is for somebody who's never dated online and does not know what they're doing, but I'm going to tell you what to do. I think coffee is, like, a good kind of out, because it's like, let's just get to know each other. Because I'm like, let's go on a date.
I think drinks sounds so low key. I think it sounds like it's a good way to, like, make sure that you both can be comfortable. And that sounds bad because it's like, oh, we have to drink, like, to meet each other. I don't know. That's just personal though. I just spit all over you.
I think it's like I think a drink is more serious though, because it's like, oh, we're getting a drink, like, get a glass of wine and, like, I don't know. For me, coffee's just like, that's just casual. Like, oh, what are you doing for the rest of the day? It's a great day outside. Like, oh, what do you do for work? Do you have off right now? Oh, you work at the restaurant? Oh, that's cool. Like, it's just, like, more chill for some reason. I don't know.
It weeds out the guys that just want to fuck. Because drinks can
This is
easily lead into
This is true.
sexual. When does it end? When do you go home?
Well, it's like nighttime. Like, I don't want to meet a person for the first time at night.
Yeah.
For
I get
me
that.
personally, like, in my dating past, like, I wouldn't really want to meet somebody at night. And if I did, it is already an indication that we know this is going to be a temporary short thing.
Right.
And it's like, I'm already not interested if that's the case.
Gotcha.
If that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Depends on what you're looking for. If you want to fuck, go get a drink.
Ask for drinks. Goddamn.
If you want a husband, get a latte.
Oh my god.
But
Okay.
I have no, like, take all my advice personally with a grain of a hunk of salt.
I was going to say, couple grains of salt there.
Because I do not know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so short answer, it sucks.
It sucks. And I do have a follow-up question because we kind of brought this up. The Snapchat.
Why I have my Snapchat in my bio?
No, what this one guy did.
The Target
Guy,
spree,
okay, so
or
the guy,
which
instead
one?
of swiping,
Target
instead of matching with you on the app,
Speaking of
he saw your Snapchat thing in your bio and just added you on Snapchat.
Yeah.
I think that's so weird.
Okay. Yeah. So
it does kind of discredit the purpose of the dating app.
So okay, so I have my Snapchat in my Tinder bio, just in my Tinder bio, specifically just in my Tinder bio, because I am a whore.
Monica! Whoa!
No, I love it. Keep going.
So the guys, because guys will add you off of Snapchat instead of, because I don't really use my Tinder that often, and so for me, it's just like it's that way. So I already know that they're interested.
It's
in me.
kind of like an ad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like a Tinder is just like, hey, I am looking for this service.
Email me.
What am I talking about? Okay, like let's say looking at Instagram and Tinder. Instagram is like for friends of the family. You know, you post a picture of whatever and da-da-da. But most people aren't going to DM you and be like, hey, let's go get a drink or coffee. Whoever they are.
Yeah.
But like Tinder is like, I'm actively telling you that like I'm out there.
I'm single.
It's kind of not like an ad, but it's like a notification that like, hello, I am looking for
It's
this.
like, hey, do you want to subscribe?
So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody would just add your Snapchat off of seeing that, because it's kind of just like, what's the point of messaging you on the app if your Snapchat is right there?
Yeah.
You know?
That makes
so
sense.
That's
okay,
why I
you
did
putting it like that makes a lot of
yeah,
sense.
because Tinder to me, I just don't like using Tinder. I don't like checking it. There's just something about it that I just don't like.
Does it feel cringy when you open it up in public?
I don't open it in public.
All right,
I don't,
that answers
I don't
my
really
question.
Open it, but, and so that's why I keep my Snapchat in my bio, because then guys who are interested in me, they add me, and then I don't have to like wait, because you only match with them, you know, on Tinder if they swiped on you. You know,
Right.
like you have to swipe on each other, and I don't like to be let down. I don't like to come across a guy where I'm like, oh, you're really cute, and then we don't match. I hate that.
You're like, I feel rejection just so quickly.
So I have my Snap in my bio so that the guys who are interested in me can just add me, and we can just feel it out from there, where I can get you to show me your face like right off the bat.
True.
We don't, I don't have to question if you're a real person. We can just get all that done. And
That is true.
Just
It also
done.
can open up conversation a little easier, because instead of them being like, hey, how's it going? Or shitty pickup line,
Mhm.
they can respond to your story.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Which is what happened this weekend.
and I really love the attention, like so much.
Yeah.
I love it. And so, like the other day, I added. It was probably 45 guys that had added me, and so I just like added
Again,
them all back,
a whore.
and then they all just
Again. Go back 5.5 minutes. Whore.
and they were all, they all just start messaging, and they all start, messaging me off my story, being like, oh my God, you're so cute, da-da. And a lot of them are, not my type. I don't like them. I'm not interested in them, but it's really nice. And,
Yeah, that is so true.
use men.
Use them for compliments.
Oh
Period.
goodness. Oh goodness.
Full stop.
Full.
That's Dr. Simple giving it to you straight.
Doctor Simple.
Dr. Simple.
Yeah, hack for the ladies. Just put your Snapchat. They'll
Okay.
add you and you
Well,
want
I'm actually
attention.
really glad we talked about that, because I thought it was so weird to start with, but now I'm like, okay, I see the benefits.
There are, yeah. I mean, fuck it.
Yeah,
Get
as-
out there. Put down your shit and get in the mix.
Get out there.
I would say as long as, you're not posting on your Snapchat, like, telling where your location is. I would say that's the only thing, is, like, if you're going to let guys add you, don't be tagging specific locations of, like, I'm
Good
at
point.
this bar, or I'm at this
Filters,
restaurant,
yeah.
or whatever, or, just be conscientious of this time, because there are creeps out there.
Exactly.
So.
Be safe. Be safe. Use men. Get compliments. Also, go to Instagram and follow us, because we post fun things, and we will be posting videos soon of our trip here, and like pics and stuff like that. So that is at
TNWYWS.
WS.
Same goes for the Twitter. Go tweet us
Go
at
tweet.
NWYWS.
Oh, what do you... I can't help do this.
She does this every time.
There's they read the book, you know? And then this thing is on the book. It's like the front of the book face.
Monica's like, what's going on?
The Facebook.
That's not what your wife said. And if you want to pay for our next trip to Jacksonville, or maybe for Kylie's trip to Kansas City,
hell yes.
please
Only
go give
when
us
there's
some
no
coin.
snow on the ground. I swear to God.
No snow. We'll wait till summer. Give us some coin. Go to patreon.com/yourwife. Damn,
Dr.
this is
Simple
fun.
out
Thank
here.
you, Dr. Simple. We are honored to have you here.
If you want to listen to some really rad metaphors, and you just need some like breakup remedy, this is the podcast for you. Or if you're a whore.
This is
If you're
All
sad or a whore, or both.
Or both. The
If
perfect
you are a
cocktail.
sad whore, follow Monica on Instagram.
For the sad whores.
And mark your calendar for any single drop in
Oh my God, I'm a sad whore. Okay, thanks for listening. Get out of here.
Bye-bye.
Go grab me a beer.
You've reached Rachel and Kylie's phone. Please leave a message after the beep.
Stop fucking my wife.